Sing me a song of a lass that is gone. Say, could that lass be I? Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky.
Hey everyone, Owlvine here. So I dyed my hair again. I was going for true purple, as I call it, a more blue. Yeah, that didn't happen. It's the same colour but dark. But, I mean, if people didn't know I was a witch before, I think they'd have a better idea now, don't you think? It's totally witchy. So I have decided to do a video outside tonight because it's just beautiful out here. It's just the perfect temperature. The birds are singing. I hope you can hear them in the background. And I just felt inspired to sit here and make a video. So I'm going to be combining the week 9, I think it is, YouTube Pagan Challenge question, which is, do you keep a magical journal? And combining that with Amethysts BoS Tag. Because my channel, I can do what I want. I want to do them both, so I thought I'd just put them together. Save us, going over both again, later on, getting confused. Talking about the same thing twice is what I'm trying to say. There you go. Okay, so the first question of the Book of okay, to answer the YouTube Pagan Challenge, yes, I do keep magical journals. And to go now nicely into Amethyst BoS Tag, the first question is, what do you call your book? I like to call, well, I have a couple of different ones. I like to call my main book my Grimoire. It just feels very old world and like magical, and it is very sort of like hoity-toity, and I like it. So Grimoire is what I call it. And then I have, that's for sort of recording specifically spells and magical bits. It's sort of my more, I'm not going to say serious because it's the opposite to serious, but my very specific magical journal is that one. I hope it's not like windy in the camera. That's annoying when that happens. Hopefully it's just, you can just see my hair going past and not my words. Okay, and I also keep like a book of mirrors, and that is where I do a lot of writing. It's very word heavy. I enjoy just the process of journaling, just sitting down and writing. I really love it. So I keep one that's completely word heavy, and then my Grimoire is quite colourful and is about me putting sort of pictures in there and having a bit more fun with it. The next question is, when did you start your first Book of Shadows? I began mine, this is my very first one. I just, I painted the cover this weird design. I don't know why, it happened. And I started that on the 4th of July in 2014. This is the front page. It says, be wise, be wild, be blessed, and follow the magical path that leads off the beaten track. And I did. I really love this book too. It just has all my beginnings in there. Ow. And just different little spells and things, and yeah, that was my first one, so this one means a lot to me. The next question is, do you have more than one Book of Shadows, or do you have several that you separate into categories? So I do have more than one. As I said, I'm not patient enough for categories. I actually was only keeping like a book of mirrors previously. Even this first one that I had was a Book of Shadows, but it also was really a journal as well. I sort of put everything in there. The reason being is, yeah, I don't have the patience to delegate the time to kind of separating and organizing everything very neatly in my Book of Shadows. And I wanted to for a long time, and desiring to do that actually stopped me creating one until I watched Molly of HerSpeaks, and I think a lot of us have been inspired by this video. I will link it down below if you haven't seen it yet. But she showed her grimoire, and it was gorgeous. And she said, you know, it started off as an art journal and kind of became her grimoire. So that gives you an idea of what it looked like, and that really inspired me. And I decided to make one inspired by hers and just keep it casual, keep it fun, get messy in there, paint, just whatever, and not be so serious about it, and not organize it into categories, and just kind of put whatever goes in there, whatever I feel like at the time. So that really works for me, and that's what I do now. And then I have my more journal, which I also write spells and rituals in. At the very least, I put them in there first, and then I might transfer them over to my grimoire. Yeah, so I have 2 going, and I'm almost finished this journal, so I'll be starting another one soon. The next question is, do you keep a book of mirrors or book of reflections as well as a book of shadows? Well, yes, as I just answered. What is your favourite thing to do in your book of shadow? Drawing herbs, writing spells. My favourite thing to do. Well, I've only just really started my grimoire. I love being playful in there. I love painting and putting colour on the page, and I love that it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't have to be beautiful and perfect right now. It's just a bit of me on the page. Do you organise the pages in your book into sections, or do you just do whatever you feel like? The latter. Do you ever let anyone see or read your book of shadows? I have not yet. I'll show you a couple of pages from my grimoire, but no, it's a very personal thing, and the reason, I mean, I feel like I can completely be myself if I know that no one else is going to see that book. You know, I can be ugly in there. I can shout and scream and swear and be gross and whatever, you know, like whatever I feel like at the time, and just be my complete authentic self. And that's what I love about, you know, the fact that no one sees it. The next question is, what does your book of shadows mean to you? Well, it's obviously a way that I can record my journey, and I've really enjoyed looking back on my previous books to kind of see where I've come from, and to take things that I've learned and apply them now and all that sort of thing. So it's really a way for me to document my journey, and like I said, now my grimoire is a place to play. The next question is, how do you feel about symbolism when choosing your book of shadows? How do you feel about symbolism when choosing your book of shadows? I'm not really sure what that question means. I should have watched Amethyst's video before this to get a refresh, and see how she answered, so I would know what it meant. How do you feel about symbolism when choosing your book of shadows? I don't know. Next question, where and how do you keep your book? Do you have a special place for it? Is it wrapped in special material? My grimoire is kept just next to my altar, and I'll be doing a little altar tour at some point, maybe even now, I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, but I just keep it right next to my altar, and my other one, my journal, Book of Mirrors, is just wherever I've left it, basically. I work in that a lot, so it's just all over the place. And I don't wrap it in anything, I just have it sitting there. Are you planning on handing down your book to future family members, or is it just for you? Look, it would be cool if someone would be interested in it at some point, if my son wanted to see it, have it, whatever. I don't see that happening. He's a lot like his father. I don't think he's gonna kind of follow in my footsteps as such, spiritually. He might, well, it's not even spiritually, is it? It's magically. I don't know. For right now, it's just for me. And if he wanted to see it one day, that would be cool, and he could see, you know, the insides of his mother's twisted mind. And the next question is, what is your opinion on brought versus personally handmade debate on Book of Shadows? I think it's whatever feels good to you. I really do. I think that making things is awesome, but I think there are that many things out there that are so amazing that you can buy. Whatever. What is your opinion on your Book of Shadows following the popularised charm aesthetic of looking aged with calligraphy, perfect writing inside? That's what I've always wanted. That's what stopped me from ever creating one, because I wanted it to be perfect and beautiful and calligraphy, aged pages. Oh, I love it. So yeah, I mean, that's cool, but I'm probably not going to do it because, again, I don't really have the patience. And also, I kind of like... I always like the idea of having a book like that, but at the same time, to me, it feels too restricting for me. Like, now, especially since I've started this grimoire, like, I love the colour and the fun and the blur and the, you know, all the different bits to it. So I think I would get bored if it was just one kind of look like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, monotone, even though they are very beautiful in their own way. I like colour. Yeah. And the very last question, I think... Oh, no, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes. Do you own or want to own any replica books from famous witches, popular TV and film? If you watched a lot of witchy films and TV. Okay, so it was different. Okay, two questions. So I do not own any replicas, no. And if you watched a lot of witchy films and TV, what was your favourite fictional Book of Shadows or magic book? Practical magic. I'm that guy. I love it. I absolutely adore it. I love herbs and that kind of like really hearth and home, you know, kitchen witchery. So I loved that book, and I would have like the greatest life if that got handed down to me from, you know, a grandmother or something. That'd be amazing. So, without further ado, this is my grimoire. Now, this is an old book that, well, old. I say it's old because it previously belonged to other people than me. But there's this book, and it was actually a Bible book. So it's the Dictionary of New Testament Words. So the fact that it's now a witch's book is kind of sacrilege, don't tell anyone. But I thought it was perfect when I saw it. So I decided to use a book like Molly did, an old book, and gesso over the pages and kind of put your own thing on top. And when I saw this one, I went through my husband's old books because I was like, well, I don't want to buy a new one from the op shop when he has a whole bunch of textbooks that he doesn't even use anymore. I saw this one, I was like, oh my goodness, like, look at this. It's so pretty. And then look, it says vines, as in our vines. So I was like, well, I gotta have that. And I asked my darling husband, and he did acquiesce in the end. He was a bit funny at the start. He was like, yeah, but then he said yes. So a couple of little pages. I've just got a what is it? Fae Guidance for Dark Moon picture in there. This is like a thing I do. Full moon dedication in there. Hey, Maggie. Oh, this is my Baba Yaga page. I want to like put my head in too so I can see. So, gosh, that's weird, isn't it? Okay, so Baba Yaga's house on Chicken Foot. There's the fence. There she is there. There's a crow up here because I associate crow very strongly with her. And crow is an animal that I work very, very closely with. And there's a little, can't really see it, a little spider web there too, because spider is another animal that I work very closely with that I also associate with Baba. And then I've got my sun sign, which is Leo, and then a bit about what sun signs mean and what Leo sun sign means in particular. And then I have my moon sign, which is also Leo. Now you know why I'm so crazy. And then about what that is. And then I have my rising sign, which is Cancer. A bit about what rising sign means, and a bit about having Cancer rising as a sign. Ever since learning about astrology a little bit, like even a little bit more, like so many, like the parts of myself make so much sense now. If you don't know your sun, moon and rising, do look them up. You may be really surprised, particularly if you're a skeptic on the whole astrology thing. Wow. And then I have, this is one of my little, I've got little ribbons. They're like, what are they called? Recycled silk ribbons. Anyway, dark moon. I was born under the dark moon, and that's been something that's been really interesting as well to find out about what that kind of means. Yes, but I was born on the dark moon, and then I've got a little bit about being born on the dark moon, what that means, and then info on the actual dark moon itself. And do I have, and that's all I have to show right now. I'm eating everything. Things are flying, it's all going. So that's my grimoire. Oh. And then I have just, this is my current, oh my god, I'm disheveled. This is my current journal, book of mirrors, which I began in September. A horned experience. Oh yes, you're also young to read about that. So this is when I was working with, starting to work, there's not enough space, there we go. I've got stuff about magpie and crow, and they were coming to me really strongly. And look what I wrote here, this is back in September. I want to live where the birds are. And the beautiful thing is, I do now. It's interesting how that happens, like I wrote that down and hoped, but didn't really think it was gonna happen. And now I live in a place, like I've never known anywhere to have so many birds, particularly in an area that's quite, you know, built up. Like I live in suburbia. It's amazing. Anyway, think about it. Let's see, bear spirit, phoenix, bits and pieces. So I've got like different rituals in here and different spells and things. Baba Yaga. Oh, that was funny. So Baba Yaga's just come to me recently, and I keep saying I'm going to talk about her, and I will. But I didn't realise that I really was searching for her last year. What is it? December. In December I wrote a piece to her, and it's just funny how it all comes in a full cycle, isn't it? Feng Shui. Ritual. That's about ritual. Witches are people of the fucking library. Yes, Kellyanne Maddox said that. Oh, I love that. I love it. Alright, anyway, I thought there was some interesting things I wanted to show you in here, but I can't find them. So, those are my magical journals. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too long and rambly. I think it was, but I love you guys. And I hope you're all having an awesome day. A very magical evening to you all. And I'm just gonna sit out here and keep on blissing, I think. Till next time.